Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film Cinderella, streaming now on Amazon Prime. I say spoiler-free, but I mean it's Cinderella, so you know probably the basics of the storyline at least. But in this one, we've got Camila Cabello stepping in for the role of Cinderella. And this is hot on the heels of Netflix's He's All That, which I just reviewed as well, with a TikTok star Addison Rae at the helm. This one, at least, we've upgraded to full-blown pop star with Camila Cabello. Before we get started, though, with the review, I'm going to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video, and please consider subscribing down below if you are new here. Would love to have you aboard as one of my subscribers. And, of course, like this video, comment below, all of these things. So this was originally supposed to go to theaters, but, of course, is another one of the casualties of COVID. Sony was starting to produce this in 2019 and then had to shut down production, in early 2020. And it was supposed to be in theaters, but earlier this year it was announced, no, we're going to sell it off to Amazon Prime. So as long as you are a Prime user and subscriber, you can get this movie for free, and it's available right now. So in addition to Camila Cabello playing the title character of Cinderella, you've got Idina Menzel, classic from Broadway and from the Frozen films. She is playing the evil stepmother here. You've also got Minnie Driver and Pierce Brosnan as the king and queen of the castle, and Billy Porter as the fabulous godmother. Fab G is what he is known as. It's sort of a genderless role, but he does say at one point, he says mother, and then sort of like covers his mouth. But he says godmother, which I think is perfect. Maybe calling him a fairy godmother was a little too on the nose. So they went with fabulous godmother, but I think that works too. But Nicholas Galitzine is Prince Robert here. And he is somebody I am unfamiliar with, and he does stick out a little bit like a sore thumb with all of these other acting talents. Obviously, Minnie Driver, Pierce Brosnan, Idina Menzel. But don't sleep on Camila Cabello. She surprised me in this movie. She's actually really good. Now, we know she can sing. She was with Fifth Harmony. She had a bunch of solo hits, and still does, I guess. But she really hasn't done much in the way of acting, and she's naturally funny. She can stand toe-to-toe with some of the people in this movie. So as sort of a stark contrast from Addison Rae in He's All That, rather, Camila Cabello is very, very good here. So this ends up being a jukebox musical of sorts. There's a lot of old classics in here from the 70s, 80s, up through today. And then there's a couple of original numbers as well, co-written by Camila Cabello or Idina Menzel. They each sort of co-wrote their big, show-stopping number. For Camila, her song goes a few times. They do a couple of reprises of that, and then Idina Menzel's song is just, the classic show-stopping number that we expect from her. So let's talk for a second about the soundtrack. I think some of the songs are far too obvious, and songs that are a little bit overused. I love Queen. Queen is one of my all-time favorite bands, but in the last 5 years, this is before even Bohemian Rhapsody, really, but Queen has been all over soundtracks, and there's only really like 4 or 5 main songs, and I get it. Find Me Somebody to Love makes sense for the Prince to be singing that song. I do understand that, but I think it was, a little too maybe obvious. And then there's some other ones that I think really fit quite well. It opens up with a mashup of Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, along with You Gotta Be by Desiree. I think that flowed very well, and the choreography here is great. And of course, look, the singing, I could listen to Idina Menzel sing The Phone Book, okay? She's one of the greatest voices, really, of all time. I think there's no denying that. But what's interesting is she has a very different style to Camila Cabello. She, is much more Broadway focused and sort of theatrically, belting out numbers, while Cabello is more, pop sensibilities, obviously. But I think the two actually really dovetail well together because, Idina Menzel's character is supposed to be sort of stuck up and, I'm the evil stepmother and this and that. And so it makes sense that she would be, really kind of belting it out from her chest and going for the back of the back of the bleachers. Whereas Camila Cabello as Cinderella is more, sort of fancy free and, has that more pop sensibility. So I think even though they have two drastically different styles and sing a lot of the songs together, sometimes in harmony, I think it works actually very, very well. In terms of the mice, you've got James Corden as one of them, and while he's doing the voice for the mouse, that's fine. But of course, we know the story of Cinderella. He eventually ends up being one of the footmen. And then it's just, stupid James Corden as always. I go on and on about how much I dislike him in my videos, but I do I think he's kind of funny. I think his face is just smug and whatever. So, I love when he's Peter Rabbit. I think that's fun. And he's okay here as the mouse, but then, when he grows up, or when they make him into a footman, not so great. But look, he's one of the producers, so of course he's going to be in the movie, and he already did Into the Woods, which was a very, fairy tale friendly kind of thing. Billy Porter here, let's move on to him. Great as always. I don't watch Pose, but I've seen him do interviews. I saw him do a guest spot on SNL. He wasn't the host, but he was sort of a special guest star. I like this dude. I think he's hilarious. I just think, as a gay man, I think it's great to see this sort of, unapologetic, flamboyant, wonderfully talented person, sort of, waving that pride flag for us. So I love Billy Porter. He narrates a little bit too. It's very sporadic in the beginning and maybe a couple of times in the middle and then at the end. But visually, as usual with the fairy godmother character, we only see him in the one scene. So what else can I say? Well, they've done a few twists with it. Not only is it, more of a musical this time than in the past, but it's got this script that is very, very... I don't want to say it's woke because I think that's overused, but it does have a very heavy sort of female empowerment vibe to it that I like because I think they wedged it in nicely. And the story didn't become all about, Cinderella's nothing if she doesn't have a man. They didn't do that here, and I did appreciate that. But it wasn't just Cinderella's empowerment that we see here, and I won't get into anything else in that arena because I think it's a little spoilery. But let's just say I kind of liked what they did there as well. So look, there are definitely some negatives to this as well, other than some of the obvious music cues. I think the script in between the musical numbers does need work. There's a few moments in this movie where it is kind of dude, what is even going on with these characters? Minnie Driver and Pierce Brosnan, I love to see them, but they really, I think, were trying to shoehorn in some things for them to do that I'm not sure worked. But this was directed and written by Kay Horn, and she did, or Kay Cannon rather. I don't know where I got Horn, but Kay Cannon, she wrote the Pitch Perfect movies. She has writing credits on 30 Rock and New Girl, so she knows funny, and she certainly put a more comedic bent on this. The thing is, though, do we need another Cinderella movie? And the answer is no, probably not. Disney just did a great live action version several years ago in their sort of remaking the animated classics, filmography. But look, Cinderella is such a classic story. I think there's always something to do with it. It's kind of like Romeo and Juliet. They can make that 50 different times, and they do. And I think each version can be a little bit different. And I think this one is certainly different from the Disney version, either the animated or the live action. So I think for that, it might be worth a watch. Look, my grade is a bit middling for this because I think there's a lot of things to, not love about this, or a lot of things come across as, maybe a little corny or just sort of ill-placed, but I am giving it a positive grade. I sort of was torn because this is one that could be a B through a C minus. Like, it's definitely a positive grade. I'm gonna leave it actually on the lower end. I'm gonna stick it with a C plus. Um, I think that it's definitely in that positive camp. I can recommend this movie, but look, it doesn't need to exist. I think the greatest thing that came out of this is realizing Camila Cabello's talent in front of the camera, not just on the stage. I think she makes this work, and I wish the actor that played the prince was any good. He really is not a very good actor, unfortunately. Like I said, I don't know him from anything else. So this could be his big sort of debut, and I don't think he quite measures up, because all of his scenes are either with her or with Pierce Brosnan and Minnie Driver, who are great actors. I'm always behind Minnie Driver, anything she does. But look, this has gone on a bit long enough, so we'll wrap it there. But I do leave Cinderella with a slightly positive C plus. I think if you've got a couple hours to kill, want something a bit lighthearted with some great music in it, you could certainly do worse than this one. So we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching Dan Reviews It. We'll see you back here next time. Bye.